Whenever someone asks me why I moved to Germany, I simply tell them that I moved here to get a better quality of life. If they ask me to elaborate, I tell them that in Germany, I love that I can live car free. I love that pretty much everything that I need is within a 10-minute walk of my downtown Berlin apartment. I love the high quality food, I love how safe I feel, and I love the overall calmer and more relaxed atmosphere. These are some of the main things that give me a much better quality of life in Germany than what I had in the US. Of course, there's much more to it than that. And in this video, I'm going to explain to you more about why I moved here and why I'm not planning to leave. So keep on watching if you want to learn more about Germany and what life is really like here. My name is Kai, and I moved to Germany from the US a little over 4 years ago. And while there are lots of different reasons people choose to come here, I'd like to share a little of my own experience. I was actually born in Germany, and I lived here off and on as a child for 5 years. This early experience had a profound and lasting effect on me. For me, deep down inside, Germany always felt like home. So, even though I lived in the US for the majority of my life, I always had a yearning to return to Germany. Every time I visited here on vacation, that feeling of being home welled up inside me. I always knew that I needed to find some way to come back here one day. The only problem was that I couldn't easily do it. Why? Because in my case, finding work remotely wasn't really possible. And there were some arbitrary rules preventing me from qualifying for citizenship, even though I was born here. So I bided my time, dreaming of returning to Germany as the political situation in the US continued to slowly deteriorate. As the years went by, I felt increasingly frustrated with US culture and more drawn to the idea of living in Germany. Finally, as part of the immigration reforms enacted under Angela Merkel, the rules in Germany were changed, and I was eligible to apply for German citizenship. This happened to be around the same time when things were getting much worse in the US. The 2016 presidential election was an absolute breaking point for me. Fortunately, I now had a way out, so I gathered everything I needed and applied for German citizenship. It certainly didn't happen overnight. This was my first experience with Germany's notorious bureaucracy, which I will talk about more in future videos. For now, let me just say that the whole process took 3 long years. I had a lot to navigate before I finally made it here. It was a very frustrating time of waiting and not knowing for sure when or whether my application would be approved. But luckily, not everyone has to face these same kinds of obstacles to getting here. There are definitely other routes into Germany with or without full citizenship. Anyways, after 3 somewhat torturous years, I finally got my German citizenship and left the US for good. It wasn't so easy to do in the middle of a global pandemic, but I was determined and I found my way to my new home here in Berlin. So obviously, one of the main reasons I left the US was political. But there are also cultural and social reasons. Politically, I consider myself to be a social democrat who cares about environmental issues. In the US, these political ideals are considered radical. In Germany, they are much more common. Democrats in the US would actually be considered conservative in Germany. US politics just became so unbearable that I had to leave. And I'm so happy that I had the chance to leave when I did. Culturally, even though I spent the majority of my life in the US, I was initially raised in Germany and grew up with different values as a child. Qualities like honesty, integrity, and that infamous German directness are much more important to me than acquiring possessions, making lots of money, or competing with everyone. I've always preferred German, and for that matter, European culture. Basically, I think the food is way better here, and we are the ones who are playing the real football. Socially, in Germany, like in many other European countries, everyone contributes to a strong social support system. And this is something everyone can benefit from. The focus here seems to be much more on improving people's lives instead of encouraging everyone to take sides and fight needlessly as people struggle just to get by. For me, it's also important to live in a place that feels safe. And despite occasional bad things happening here, I really do feel much safer here than I ever did in the US. So beyond having a much better quality of life, I simply wanted to live in a place that more closely matched my values. And for me, that place is Germany. Considering all of that, I'm sure you won't be surprised to learn that I'm here to stay and I have no plans of ever moving back to the US. Of course, Germany is by no means perfect, and I'll talk about this more in future videos. But the pros here definitely outweigh the cons, and judging by the large number of expats living here, I think it's safe to say that many other people feel the same way too. So, for those of you interested in learning more about Germany, or maybe even moving here, like I did, I hope you'll stay tuned for more of my videos about what life is really like here. That's all for now, and I'll see you again soon. Tschüss, bis später.